Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, surprise, surprise, I'm not camping this weekend. Mrs. Sujano and I took the weekend off for once. We'll start out by talking about igir, which is a free and open source video game ROM collection manager to help you filter, sort, patch, archive, and report on collections on any OS. And igir just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 2.11.0 is the latest update, and this one is all about performance. They say here this will be an important performance boost ahead of various compressed disk support coming in version 3, which is just around the corner. And there's also a bunch of various performance bugs that were fixed. If you've got a large ROM collection and you're curious about igir, I'll drop a link to it in the description below and feel free to check it out. Next up is just a quick heads up that Old School Rally is currently in early access on for 10% off and has just been Steam Deck verified. Old School Rally is an indie game. It does not have Denuvo, and on Steam it's got very positive reviews. There are some notable criticisms of it though. One being wheel support, or at least not wheel support that the person was looking for. And also vehicle handling and physics were not up to some people's standards. Now the game is in early access. I have not played it yet, but it is on my radar and I might get to it pretty soon. If you've played it, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about a very weird collaboration, and maybe not weird in the sense of the whole Xbox Deadpool Wolverine collaboration with those weird butt controllers, but a weird smartphone collaboration. So Poco has collaborated with, no surprise here, Deadpool and Wolverine, who seem to be collaborating with a whole bunch of different things. Anyways, here, this is the brand new Poco F6 Special Limited Edition. It features a Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, 50 megapixel cameras, and 90-watt turbocharging. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you like the styling? Would this interest you in buying the phone, or would you even care because you'd put a case on it and probably never see this stuff? Next up, we're quickly talking about 3DS emulation with Citra Enhanced, which was a fork of Citra. Citra Enhanced has been rebranded to Mandarine, and at the time of filming there is no first official release of Mandarine. This is, I guess, just a friendly heads up. And on a quick side note here, for those wondering what the most popular current version of Citra, or at least Citra fork is, Pablo MK7's I think is the most popular. And then there's also still Citra MMJ and Lime 3DS, which seems to be kind of just a grouping of a whole bunch of 3DS changes. Next up, we're talking about Intel, which, surprise, surprise, is in the news again, and this time again not for a good thing here about their 13th and 14th gen CPUs. So The Verge reports, and I'll drop a link to this article in the description below, there is no fix for Intel's crashing 13th and 14th gen CPUs. Any damage is permanent. They say that Tom's Hardware reports that any degradation of the processor is irreversible, and the Intel spokesperson did not deny that. Additionally here, earlier on we talked about Intel developing an update to lower the voltages of these CPUs to try to protect them. But apparently here, Intel confirms too high voltages aren't the only reason some of these chips are failing. Some of the instability can, surprise, surprise, be traced back to manufacturing, which begs the question, is there going to be a recall for these chips? And surprise, surprise, the answer is no, and I'm kind of wondering if they ever thought about adding GFY after that. For those who may be unaware, GFY stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano. Again, I do recommend checking out this article. It's got a lot of helpful information in it, especially if you've got an Intel 13th or 14th generation CPU with a base power of 65 watts or greater. Next up, we're talking about 86box, which is a low-level x86 emulator, and 86box just got its first update since March. So at the time of filming, 86box 4.2 is the latest update, and this one is a big update. There's a whole lot of changes. So in addition to a whole bunch of optimizations, tweaks, and fixes, there's some sound improvements here, and they've also added a serial modem. So they say here a serial modem is now available as a network card option. And they've also added some brand new machines and re-added the Compact Desk Pro 386. Next up, we're talking about the Behemoth, and you may know the Behemoth as they were the company behind big games like Castle Crashers. Anyways, they just dropped the roadmap trailer on YouTube. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Alien Hominid HD is coming to PS4 and PS5. Additionally, Battle Block Theater on Steam is getting a quality of life update. Castle Crashers is getting new stuff, with one of the big things here being the ability to create custom characters. They're calling it Castle Crashers Painter Boss Paradise, and it is going to be DLC. Moving on, and we're quickly talking about a brand new ROM hack, and this one's of Shuttle Flight. And Shuttle Flight for the NES, which was released back in 1992, has just got an English fan translation. Shuttle Flight is a board game, and if you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the ROM hacking page in the description below. And if you wanted to see it in action, I'll drop a link to a YouTube video in the description below as well, showing off the English translation. If you've played Shuttle Flight before, let me know in the comments below. And I've been calling it Shuttle Flight, and it's Shuffle Flight. Next up, if you like demos and you like Steam, you might like this update. Steam has changed the way it handles demos. Demos now behave better in the Steam library. You don't have to immediately install them. You can just add them right to your library and install them later. On top of that, demos can now have a separate store page. Demos now appear more in the Steam store. And there's now wishlist notifications when demos become available. I am loving this resurgence of demos. Next up is a friendly heads up if you use Twitter or X on PC, and I think the mobile one is exempt from this from now, or they just don't have the option yet. Anyways, if you use X on PC, you may automatically be enrolled in data sharing, and you may want to turn that off if you're concerned about privacy. So it says right here, it allows your posts as well as your interactions, inputs, and results with Grok to be used for training and fine-tuning. And this also means your interactions, inputs, and results may also be shared with our service provider, XAI, for these purposes. Now, I quickly checked my settings over on X, and lo and behold, yes, I'm automatically enrolled. So I'll just uncheck that one and also delete my conversation history. Now, to be honest with you, I don't normally use Grok, but I don't know Grok's overall reach on X and what it powers and what everything goes into it. And furthermore, I don't pay for X, so I don't even think I have access to Grok. So this may be a non-issue. I've really got no idea. But moving on, and next up, we're talking about Xbox 360 emulation with Xenia Manager. For those who may not be aware, Xenia Manager is a tool that tries to make using Xenia Emulator a lot easier. And Xenia Manager has exploded in popularity on the Xbox 360 emulation scene. And you can install Xenia Stable and Xenia Canary, which is the more experimental version of Xenia, right through Xenia Manager, along with a whole bunch more, and Xenia Manager just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 1.8.0 is the latest update, and this is a big update for this application. There's a bunch of bug fixes, improvements, and even more. They've added the Edit Game Info window. Users can now select different versions of Xenia directly from Edit Game Info. They fixed some issues here. They replaced radio buttons with a combo box for selecting sources in Add Game Window. And they added a new source, Xbox Marketplace, and they say this should be the best source for adding games. If you are curious about Xenia Manager and wanted to learn more about it, it's 100% free, it's open source, it's on GitHub, and yes, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. And if you've used Xenia Manager, or if you're using it, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. And last up here, we're talking about Sega Rally 2006 for the PS2, and there's a brand new fan translation patch available. They say the game is almost entirely in English now, but there are still a few things that are not in English, and I don't know if they will be translated or not because they're images. Anyways, here the translations include career mode intro and profile creation, career mode top menus, calendar race names, garage and shop menus, and even more. The translation is up over on romhacking.net, and yes, I probably don't even need to say this because I say it too much, but everything I talk about, the link will be in the description below. There's also a YouTube video that I'll drop a link to below that shows the patch in action, the before and after. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.